before you hand in your persuasive letter, you want to make sure you go through a checklist to make sure you have all the elements of persuasion in your letter. Because, of course, to get an A, you need to actually successfully persuade. That doesn't mean that you have to convince your reader to do what it is you're asking them to do, but you have to present a logical argument. And logical is the key to this. You want to make sure you give support that makes sense, that anyone's going to look at and say, okay, yeah, that totally seems right, because it's logical, not emotional. So the first thing you need to have is your topic, which most of you already have. But with that topic, you also need to make sure you state your opinion or what you're seeking. Then, after you've had your topic, it's important to go through and make sure you list what are all the supports for your topic and what are all the supports against your topic. The reason why you want to have both the for and the against is because it's going to help you to strengthen your argument, because you have to look at both sides of the issue before you can really create a strong argument. But also it's going to help you develop your counter argument. So, for instance, if my topic is school uniforms, well, reasons against school uniforms would be cost to buy all the new uniforms, also loss of individuality, and let's see, freedom to choose own clothing. So freedom of expression. Reasons for school uniforms would be, again, cost, because now kids aren't spending money on expensive clothing. It eliminates competitiveness about clothing. It benefits the kids who are financially struggling. Because they don't have to worry about keeping up with the latest styles. It would decrease bullying, but it most importantly would keep kids focused on education. All right, so I've listed out my fors and my againsts. Now, the next thing you need to have in your persuasive is the counter argument. Well, if I am going to be for school uniforms, I'm looking here at cost, loss of individuality, and freedom to choose clothing and freedom of expression. I'm going to tackle freedom of expression. School, well, here, while school uniforms decrease students' ability to express themselves through clothing, school is for learning, not self-expression. Additionally, clothing is only one way to express one's self. Accessories, talents, and personality are all fabulous ways. All right, So now I've got my counter argument. Now, one of the things that I failed to mention in our earlier video on persuasive writing is the call to action. This is going to be in the last paragraph. You might mention it earlier in the paragraph or earlier in your paper as well, but you need to make sure it is in your last paragraph as well. This is the what do you want your reader to do? What do you want to have happen? It's not necessarily explaining the why it should happen. It's the this is what should happen. So if I'm going on with my topic of school uniforms, this is what I might say. So what I've decided to say for my call of action is, it is time to put personal expression aside for the sake of academic growth and behavior improvements. Therefore, it is necessary for the school board to implement school uniforms for the upcoming school year. So notice, here I'm stating what we need to do. We need to put our personal expression aside, because personal expression gets us nowhere. Instead, we need to worry about academic growth and behavior, because that is the purpose of a school. Then I've got this transition word, therefore. This is my call to action. Because of this, this needs to happen. Then I explain who needs to make this change and what specifically the change needs to be and the timeline in which it needs to happen. So hopefully, with all of this information, you will make sure that you have all the elements of a persuasive paper. Just a couple more things. I want to make sure that when you hand in your final draft, it has the proper format. You have elements of writing. These are the magic threes, the literary devices. Repetition for effect is fabulous in persuasive writing. But also make sure you really have strong, vivid word choice. Don't rely on weak words like bad and good. Also, don't say things like things and stuff. And most importantly, make sure you transition between your ideas. You want to make sure that the letter reads smoothly for your reader so that they're not trying to figure out where they're going next. Instead, you've decided that for them.